everyone, and welcome to Another Bite, where we rewatch the most innovative and intriguing pitches from Shark Tank. I'm Jorie, and I'm joined by the jovial Jon.
We got a jovial episode, Jorie.
Oh, baby, do we have a product for you today? Today's founders really said, no use crying over spoiled milk. They're trying their best to keep your baby's milk above womb temperature. Will their new gadget make the sharks go goo-goo? Or will they put this baby product in the corner? We'll find out after this fun new ad. Finding a service solution that helps you better connect with customers and keep them happy can feel impossible. Like trying to remember the name of that guy you met at a networking event. HubSpot's all-new Service Hub can help. Well, in the service solution part, at least. It brings service and success together in one powerful platform for the first time ever. With an AI-powered help desk and an AI chatbot that handles frontline tickets fast. All so you can scale support and drive revenue and retention. Visit HubSpot.com/service so you can do more with your customers today. Today in the tank, we have the Veba Baby Bottle Monitor. Say that 5 times fast, Jon.
Veba Baby Bottle Monitor. Veba Baby Bottle Monitor. Baby Bottle Monitor. Veba Baby Bottle.
Exactly, Jon.
Darn it.
And the Veba Baby Bottle Monitor is brought to us by Vion and Sean, and they are asking for $150,000 for 15% in their company, which is a $1 million valuation. Now, the Veba Baby Bottle Monitor, henceforth known in this episode as Veba, because I'm not saying that a bunch of times.
Can we call it the VBBM?
You can call it that, Jon.
Tell me you work in SaaS without telling me you work in SaaS.
Look at him just creating acronyms.
It's the VBBM.
Anyway, so the problem that Veba is trying to solve is that it can be hard to organize and manage and essentially time when breast milk or formula is fresh. You leave it out, you leave it in the car. Can we feed this to our child? Who knows? So the solution is a smart bottle monitor that essentially is tracking whether or not that milk is expired. So it's sort of like a bottle attachment and app coupled together. So it attaches to your favorite baby bottle, and the app enables you to track the temperature within the bottle, and it's using smart metrics like the ideal milk temperature, and also comes with a Find My Bottle feature, which is nice. There's one band per monitor, but you can link multiple to its comprehensive app. So thinking about the product, our founders, and the pitch, initial thoughts of this app and monitor duo.
Okay, well, I have a child who feeds from bottles right now.
You just came back from parental leave.
Here I am. I'm back.
You are the persona.
No, definitely not buying this. No way.
Okay. Jon's out. Another hard no. Okay, tell us more. What's going on? Is this really a problem, Jon?
No, I don't think so. There's a very simple rule with bottles, which is that once your child's lips touch the bottle, you have an hour.
Pencils down.
And if in doubt, you don't give them the bottle. If you're like, has it been 45 minutes or an hour? You're like, whatever, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Now, it seems as though there is a problem that they're trying to solve here. And the problem is actually that breast milk is a very precious commodity for a lot of families.
Yeah.
In fact, milk production is extraordinarily difficult for a lot of people. And so supply is often very limited for a child. And I think what they are trying to pitch here is that this product can help maximize the supply that you produce. Problem is, though, it's not extending the longevity of how long the product is good for.
It's not doing anything.
It's just alerting you for when it expires, which you already knew. Now, there could be some other problems they're trying to solve, such as parents, especially in the early days when they're underslept, can be forgetful. So that could definitely be a problem. Just to argue in that case, though, your little infant just doesn't eat that much. They eat often, but they don't eat that much at a time. So the amount of waste isn't really that high.
Yeah, because they position this as a cost savings.
Yeah.
You are wasting so much, X amount of milk or formula, therefore you need this to save money and time and resource.
Yeah. And then the other problem that I see here is it's just expensive. I think it's $95 per sensor. $95 per sensor. You need one sensor for every bottle. So you're like, okay, at any one time, we got 10 bottles going. You're going to spend $1,000 on sensors? You're like, that's a lot. And maybe you just put the sensor on right before you feed. But then you're like, my baby's crying trying to get this food on. Am I going to fiddle with this sensor like to get it on? Like, definitely not. You got no time for this.
Like to get it on and off.
Feed my baby.
Definitely.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, for those reasons, I'm out.
So Jon says this isn't a real problem. This is pseudoscience in the making.
It feels like they've found a problem. And I think I relate to that problem. And I think that they're genuinely out trying to innovate on making the experience of feeding your baby better and help mothers with supply issues and stuff. I just don't know if it actually solves the problem.
Yeah. I feel like they made a problem, if we're being honest. It sounds like just based on your response, and then even like Emma agreed, was like, hey, I've had 4 kids. This has never been an issue for me.
Hasn't been an issue for me.
It seems like they didn't really do a lot of market research to vet that idea, which makes me a little bit skeptical, just because a lot of like the parents on the panel, like, again, I'm not the persona for that, but that is kind of like your social proof. And they were all like, is this a problem? But then like Emma was the one that she was like, I was the one managing this and it wasn't a problem. So it just didn't lead to a lot of confidence as like a consumer. But we talk a lot about market research. And it seems like this amorphous buzzword sometimes that gets thrown around on here, but then also the Shark Tank. So I was curious if you could help me unpack, if you have an idea for a business and you're really excited about it, but you need some data to actually show that this A is a problem and B is something that you uniquely solve. How do you go about conducting market research? Like, what does that actually mean in practice?
I mean, I think every parent I know is in a Facebook group in their local community, and just start there, put a poll out. Is this a problem? And I think you get some pretty quick results. Most parents, they go to like kids groups and
forums.
There's activities, there's music events. Just ask people, like, is this a problem? So I think there's lots of ways to really casually get feedback. It's possible that they did that and they got really good feedback. They are from Florida, so the temperature's hot.
Yeah.
And
could be
it's
a regional issue.
That, it could be for people who live in really warm climates. It might be like they're particularly worried about this and they're willing to invest more to ensure it's not a problem. That said, I've never seen a note, by the way, from any doctor that has said that a change in temperature changes how long a bottle's good for. It's an hour.
In the summer, in the winter, it's an hour. Okay. So even if they have the data, I think the big issue that I'm seeing, they're positioning this as like cost savings, which I think is valid, right? Like purses are a little tighter these days. Everyone's looking to save money. And like if you can make things last longer, that makes sense. I think what they really start to get into, and Mark mentions this, is actually how you should be positioning this is like, if you're a new parent, everything is overwhelming. And the founder sort of mentions this as like when she first had her kid and she was like in that postpartum stage, it felt like she was constantly being inundated. I feel like their marketing could benefit from more of the positioning of like new parents.
I think you market on either peace of mind.
You
market on peace of mind,
exactly.
Or you market on being a better parent.
Yeah, that's true.
Because let's not forget, every new parent is racked by
super
imposter
anxiety.
syndrome. And basically assumes that they're the worst at this thing. And so like, I think those are 2 angles that you could market on instead of cost savings that might be more effective emotionally at hooking people in. I mean, I do think parents are looking for technology to enhance their ability to effectively parent. And so through that lens, there is an insight here. And there's probably a market that's willing to pay some amount of money to not have to think about how long their bottles could last. But I think in that world, people who want to save money are a cost-conscious consumer. And this price point is totally mismatched from it. You want to market this to people who are really affluent. And are looking for technology to make their lives better and easier and to not have to think about things. People who want to outsource thinking with money. And so like, I would actually make this much more of a premium positioning and lean into that, not the cost savings angle.
Yeah. And almost like in that way, you could then do a bunch of fun things with pricing, right? You could sell packets of them where it's like, you can get the 1 and that's fine, but that's not the best option. You could do the 3-pack and that's like kind of better.
$1,000
and get 10
of them.
You could tier it so easily if you go into premium like that.
You do the baker's dozen.
Exactly. Yeah. All of the bottles have these like smart watches, sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sharks were kind of a little skeptical. And ultimately, none of our parent sharks or just other sharks offered a deal to this founder. So they did, unfortunately, walk away without a Shark Tank deal. Now, Jon, the marketer, I'm going to use your services again, and we're going to go to Veba. So I was very curious on your take of the Veba branding. And this specifically also comes through on their website, vebababy.com.
Veba baby.
So I'm always very curious about the products that we see on Shark Tank. And so I'm always checking them out on Instagram and on their website. And
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa says it all. So if you go to their website, you're immediately brought to a video of how this works. And we've seen this go really well in the past with video content. You know, you want to make sure that you're showing people how the product works.
Yeah.
I had already seen the Shark Tank pitch. This confused me more because I feel like they are leaning too heavy into this being technology. You know, you see an animation.
Yeah, look at this tech. They break the tech apart in layers. They're like, there's a microchip.
Yep.
And there's 2 screws. And you're like,
this is where I thought they had a marketing issue, because I saw the Shark Tank pitch, looked at this video, and I was like, is this a smartwatch? And I feel like there's just like some mismatch on who this is for, the types of animations that they would find and would resonate with. And that thread of mismatched alignment kind of threads its way through the homepage, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You get cartoon animations, you get high-tech animations, then you have the images of parents using this and feeding their children. And it just feels like there's not a lot of cohesive brand visual identity going on here. So that would be my recommendation looking at this website. They really drill into that kind of nice, soft blue color. So like no major notes there. But Jon, what would be your recommendations for Veba Baby looking at their website?
Honestly, I would not feature the product. I would feature the outcome. And I think the outcome is smiling parents and smiling baby.
So not high tech. Okay.
I just have an amazing photo of a happy baby and a happy mother, and the mother's holding a bottle with a Veba on it.
Which they do just like way further down the page.
Oh, there it is. That's it.
I agree. I think that kind of like emotional marketing is really important, because say you have new parents coming to this website, like they're anxious and suddenly they can visualize what your product can do for them. Amazing. Or something that Mark mentioned is like a huge market for this is like the baby shower market. Everybody wants to make sure that parents have everything they need to be set up for success with their new child. But what does that actually mean? What do you get them? Oh, you want your friend or family member to be smiling with their new child? Amazing. Veba Baby is the way to go.
Yeah.
So that I think would just lend itself a little bit more. Just the high-tech nature of the first video was just very confusing to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So thinking about Veba Baby,
Sorry, I was unable to stop staring at the device being
it's almost hypnotic,
ripped out into layers. I literally was just lost. What did you say, Jorie?
So if you were brought on, Veba Baby contacts you in a year and they're like, Jon the marketer, we're actually completely rebranding. Would you change the name of the Veba Baby monitor, or would you keep it the same?
Not now that it's been on Shark Tank.
Okay, say it hadn't been in Shark Tank. What would you name this device?
It would depend how much traction it already had. I think changing brand names after it's in the mainstream is actually kind of a mistake, unless your product launch has gone horribly and you're trying to pivot the whole thing.
That makes sense.
Every brand impression is hard to get and takes time, effort, and money just to get an impression. To throw all that away just to like change the name would have to be like so much better. But I don't know. Veba seems fine to me.
Veba. True.
Veba. Is it Veba or Veba?
I don't know, but I've been saying it both ways.
Maybe it's a bad name.
Who knows?
Here we are. But no, I don't know. We're talking about it. Maybe parents will stand around and be like, is it Veba or Veba?
And then it gets them talking about the product.
Veba Baby.
But ultimately, these two founders did walk away without a Shark Tank deal. Womp womp. So maybe they'll take some of our advice, Jon, and focus on getting their messaging just right.
Yeah. Good luck to them.
Good luck. That sounded nefarious. Good luck. Okay.
On this show, I often take strong opinions about products and whether I personally like them or not, and whether or not I think they're a good business or not. I never mean to disrespect the entrepreneurs involved because it's so hard to build a company. It's so hard. So I'm always like, good luck. Prove me wrong. Go get it.
That makes sense. I don't think we are ever too harsh, Jon.
No, I'm a quasi-shark.
It's a commentary show. Yeah. Production for today's episode was brought to you by Arie Desormeaux. Editing comes from Robert Hartwig and support from Alfred Schulz. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or wherever you subscribe to the greatest podcasts ever. That does it for me. See you next week in the tank for another bite. Create Like the Greats, hosted by Ross Simmons, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Each episode hosts an in-depth analysis of some of the greatest creations and creators of all time, along with deep dive conversations on the creative process that went into building companies and brands. If you like learning about history or learning about the creative process, you'll like this podcast. Listen to Create Like the Greats wherever you get your podcasts.